Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Community Report 35 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This report was released on the 27th of September 2021, if you're watching in the future. It relates primarily to the upcoming update, and it lists a number of quality of life features which will be included in this update. So probably the easiest way to cover this report is just to get in and read what the devs are saying. It says, "Greetings, dear comrades of the Soviet Republic. As the weather gets colder, our heating plants in Slovakia start to fire up their boilers. This means we are again closer to October this month. We have in our calendars as our deadline for the release of the upcoming update containing GUI overhaul and a lot more of improvements for existing features, including some new ones. The latest version is now available for our internal testers who have taken up the job to check the game and are doing their best to find anything critical that is in the development team would be able to fix before we get to the public beta test phase. Just stay patient. The new version should be released next week for public testing." I have to admit, I'm a little bit reluctant to get involved in this public testing because I'm not sure what the consequence on my two current systems is going to be, because I'm a little bit nervous with the loyalty mechanic. But that's something we're going to check when the update comes out. Nice picture of some cars in the car park here for some reason. With upcoming update, our young workforce will be able to relocate to new residence areas throughout the map, and it posted some new challenges. As many times your residents may not be ready for residents to move in. Yes, that was the thing I was really always worried about, this change. Because of that, we've needed to add new flags to residential buildings and city area windows to give you options to restrict new residents to move in. This will help you avoid unnecessary losses of workforce in case of your heating infrastructure citizen facilities not ready yet. In addition, you will be able to change get citizens flags for buildings during the construction phase. That's interesting. Let's take a look at the picture. Left hand side, it looks like we've got, it says allow city citizens to move into the city, and it defines, I presume this is uneducated, this is low educated, high educated, and I'm presuming these stars mean loyalty levels. Interesting. So it means you'll be able to restrict a whole area when as long as you've got a town hall. So that could be quite interesting to provide a filter. Say, for example, you've got an existing town and what you want is more educated staff or citizens of a certain loyalty. That's more of a, like, once the town's established. And moving to the center one, you've got an example here where you can able to set this once a prefab has been built. It says allow citizens to move into the building, and again this is no education, low education, high education. I'm guessing that these are loyalties. So it means that what you can do is once build up a small town, and then once you're ready for citizens to move in with plenty of over 21s, that will allow them to move in. That will make a very big difference. I can see that being very useful in my 7 Crosses series going forward. The only possible problem I can see with this is the fact that what could happen is that you'd get a city that's growing really rapidly, filling up an area that you want to develop. So you may need to use these filters here. Now, this one is actually under construction. It says allow. So effectively, these are the same switches, but what they're actually doing is allowing you to set this status ahead. So for when the building's complete, although they've got get citizens on. So yeah, I mean, I can really see this being a very useful quality of life. Now, moving down to the next paragraph, we also added new option for your passenger scheduling. Many of you were asking for a way to allow transfers of passengers without needing to build 2 platform stops. Now there will be a new checkbox for your stops in the schedule, which you can use to force passengers out of the vehicle to change to another one inside the platform they have got off. This also added a warning to platform stations that are full. So we'll just take a look at this window. It looks like we got something down here. Force citizens to step out from the vehicle at this stop, transfer a point onto another line. Now this could be very useful, especially because one of the things I've always found is with respect to like train bus connections, being able to force someone to get out and actually transfer to another vehicle would be very useful. And of course, this is something, if any of you are not familiar, if you've got a factory or a work site that's too far away for a single bus to get there, but the workers can still get there because of the length of their working day. What this will do is allow you to build an intermediate bus station and then tell workers to move on to a new town. So that will be very useful as well. I'm just going to move down to the next paragraph. Another thing we've changed is the construction office logic for sending trucks to pick up resources in case you have only little resources in your storage used for construction purposes, but the construction site requires large amounts of them. Multiple trucks were sent and only a few of them were able to load there as there was not enough material to load. The rest of them were practically traveling empty and burning up precious fuel. After update, only one or few of vehicles will be sent if there will not be enough materials available. This may not help that much if you have multiple construction offices taking resources from the same storage, but at the end of it, it will really make a difference between even 2 or 3 construction offices send 3 or 6 trucks. It is not the same as if those construction offices would send 10 or 20 trucks. This should even work for construction officers working on the same construction, but this check will be disabled for asphalt and concrete, as those will always be stored only for small amounts and produced on demand when the vehicles are being loaded. Now that is a really big quality of life improvement, because that's something I'm having with my current 7 Crosses series, that I've got trucks going all the way up to the steel mill and other areas which are producing relatively small amounts of materials, and you can see them going in there and picking nothing up. So they're making a great big long round trip with no fuel. So that is going to make a very big difference, especially when you're building at long distances. I think we're just going to take a quick look at the car park here. I think assume this is assigned to the next paragraph. It looks quite cool actually. I might use that for the thumbnail. Now, why are they talking about car parks? It says, then we added some new optimized parking lots, which will allow movement of multiple personal cars inside the parking lot. We hope these will be a great inspiration for modders, as there are already some great parking lots available in the workshop, which worked quite well. And we've had some great news of those who love the T603 and the T613 cars. We've improved their models and added new colours. There will no longer be only black ones, which most people use for the secret police or some roleplay. Now you'll be able to provide them to your workers, and if you wish, you can reserve the black version for those who are respected by your loyal citizens. What we got here is a series of pictures of various car parks. Actually, that looks quite cool, actually. I think maybe we'll use this for the thumbnail. I really like the different colours and all that. Though, to be honest, I'm not someone who uses car parks a lot, but I can see that changing in the future. Now we're going to move on to what I think, after the fix for the construction office, is the next biggest quality of life improvement in the next update. I'm just going to read it. It says, in the last report, we mentioned that we started to work on mirroring of buildings. Many of you may wonder what this means for you, because not everybody is discussing these things on the Steam forums. You may notice that buildings in the game are mostly asymmetrical, with different connections, roads, pathways, factory connections, etc. And quite often it may be challenging to place these facilities in a way that you can get the most of your connections right. As example, we can use the small aggregate storage, which would be better placed flipped. That is the case mirroring is going to be used for. We are working on allowing you to flip buildings without need of adding additional mirrored versions of them to the game. It is not that easy though, as it would look like, and we are encountering a lot of issues with the features at the very beginning. We want this to be applicable to modded buildings too. So there's a possibility this will not get into the October release. But I have to admit, this is one of my biggest bugbears, and one of the reasons why, if any of you follow my series, you know that I tend to be always lean towards modded versions. That's not because I dislike the vanilla buildings, it's just this not being able to get the connections right. So I think mirroring will be a really big step forward, especially with respect to some of the factories installations, because it means you can get far better layouts with connections with the factory connections as well. So that is going to be a really significant quality of life improvement as well. And just read the outro. We hope you will enjoy these improvements and you'll be able to proceed to public test without any significant delays. Till then, enjoy life and stay tuned for our next report. Now that, for effectively what you could call an update report for an upcoming release, is really interesting. And as I say, there's some really good quality of life improvements in there. And that really tempts me to possibly go with the beta testing, well, even with my current series, but I still need to think a little bit about it. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed this report overview, and until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.